Good afternoon, Samantha. Good afternoon, Messi. Hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Good afternoon, sir.
We are waiting for our mentors and other mentees to join the call before we start. As you can see, we are just three on the call. Okay. Okay, I can see Mr. Ebenezer is on the call with us now. Thank you very much for joining us. Good afternoon, Mr. Ebenezer.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay.
All right, so quickly, we all know today we were supposed to have this class yesterday by 5, but it was postponed to today, and I hope we are all convenient to have the class by this time. Today is the week 4 of JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship Program for Health Tech and Law, and our topic for today is Health, Business, and Health Tourism. And our mentor for today is Mr. Ebenezer Egwatu and Mr. Jeremy Odiwa. I'm not very sure if Mr. Jeremy will be joining us, but we hope he can join us before the end of the program. I'll just make the quick announcements before we start with the introduction and overview of the topic by Mr. Ebenezer. Okay, so JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship Program, about the program, is a quarterly program for students and young professionals across Africa. Mentees are afforded the opportunity to access valuable advice, training, network, mentorship, internship, discussion forum, industry updates, and resource materials from experienced mentors. The program seeks to encourage continuous training, development, and evolution in Nigeria, Africa, and around the world. You can watch some of our videos on YouTube and other social media platforms by searching for JIIPCC or JIIPCC, #JIIPCC The objectives of the program is to provide easy access, guidance, training, and resource material for students and young professionals. in Africa to facilitate dialogue and network among experienced and less experienced practitioners and stakeholders to transform mentees into mentors and leaders for the next generation, and to facilitate further mentorship, internship, scholarship, and job placement for its mentees. Okay, I'll be reading our mentor's profile. Mr. Ebenezer Egwatu is a legal practitioner, consultant, creative writer, entrepreneur, and a passionate patient right and safety advocate. He's a principal partner, law firm, multidisciplinary consult, a law firm that provides innovative and cutting-edge legal solutions located in Abuja City, Nigeria. He is also a medical law expert and the executive director of Lawyers Arise for the People Initiative, LAPI, a patient rights and safety advocacy NGO with its office in Abuja FCT. Mr. Ebenezer is an associate member of Medical Law Professional Association of Nigeria, MELPAN, a trained medical care assessor by International Medical Law Center, St. Kitts, North America, and currently serves as a legal team leader for Make Our Hospital Work campaign, a citizen-led, community-based advocacy to improve the quality of healthcare service in hospitals and primary healthcare facilities across Nigeria. As a patient rights and safety advocate, Ebenezer has featured as guest discussant on different radio and television stations where he sanitizes Nigerians and their rights as patients. Ebenezer has over a decade on the field, experience in HIV and AIDS and patients' rights advocacy. He worked with Center for the Rights of Health, CRH, a reputable NGO that is committed to health rights advocacy, where he volunteered as program officer, legal human rights program for over a year before he resigned to focus on his active law practice and patients' rights and safety advocacy. While at CRH, he, among other things, worked as an associate editor, researcher of the book, The Right to Health and Violation of Patients' Rights in Nigeria, a Dex review of health-related laws in Nigeria published by CRH in 2016. He's a leader and enthusiast and has attended different leadership training with certifications. He resides in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Thank you very much for joining us today, Mr. Ebenezer. And our second mentor is Mr. Ijeweme, Dr. Ijeweme Ojiawa. He's a medical doctor who is passionate about creating a health system in Nigeria that is fit for purpose. Born in Lagos, Nigeria, he had his undergraduate medical degree at the prestigious University of Benin and his postgraduate MBA at the Lagos Business School. He has worked in both the public and private health sector in Nigeria and is currently a senior analyst at the Health Strategy and Delivery Foundation. Thank you very much for also joining us, Mr. I don't know if he has joined us, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I've always been here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening, dear mentees. Good evening, everyone. Today happens to be week 4. We are making progress, and very soon we'll be done with this set of mentees. If the presenters are ready, I would like us to go straight into the business of the day so that we'll be able to manage our time well.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have 2 presenters for today. I'm calling on the first presenter to begin your presentation. You have 10 minutes and also share your slides while presenting. I think our first presenter is Mercy Frederick, and our second presenter is Esther, but I can't see Esther on the call yet. So
let me
Mercy
just
start.
Hello. Before she starts, let me just put this as a word of advice. I've noticed that this sets the participants or the mentees are not too many. So I will encourage every mentee that before the session is over, endeavor to do at least one presentation. And Hassan, you people should also, Hussein,
Yes,
people should also
that's
structure
how
it.
that's
Yes,
how we
assign it
do
in
it.
such a way
We
that
rotate it.
every good, awesome. Why I say this because they are recurring names. So you push rotate such that every mentee should have the opportunity of presenting at least once. So let the presenter continue.
I just got a message that Samantha will be presenting on behalf of the second presenter. So the second presenter is not on the call yet. So someone has stepped in for her. But Mercy will be starting the presentation.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sirs. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Can you confirm you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yes, I can see your screen too.
Okay, so the topic for today is that I'll be taking on is healthcare business. And we'll just go right into healthcare business. So healthcare business, it involves, like all businesses that are involved in the provision of provision of medical and related goods and services. So we see that for the healthcare business, its scope is quite wide. So it involves the aggregation and integration of different sectors that would provide, health care, provide medical and related goods and services. So it means that not only physicians are in this business, it means that anyone, it could even be a digital marketer, it could be a chef, it could be anyone that is in this scope. Yes, so we also see that healthcare business, it has become one of the most profitable industries because the demand is high. However, healthcare costs are rising. So no matter the skill set you have, there is always a place that fits any individual in the healthcare business. However, we see that the healthcare business is the only sector where they can turn patients, turn their customers back. However, I believe that other sectors are willing to, receive all forms of clients compared to the healthcare sector. So this healthcare business, we will go right into the types of businesses that we have. It could be number one, surgical products distribution. Here we see that during the COVID period, businesses, organizations that were involved in surgical products distribution, they made a whole lot of goods, a whole lot of profits. We see that their margin was quite high, and they were able to scale up. So we see that in so many hospitals, they pay over 10% according to statistics, over retail price for equipment. And so it's a business that anyone can consider, and it's going to boom. Then we also have the telehealth consulting services. This is where we have the seasoned medical point of view, where they deliver, their services using, telehealth means. So we see that they use all forms of technology to deliver their consulting services, and they make a lot of money from it because they could be in any part of the world, and then they are still providing their seasoned skills. And we also have senior home care. This type of business is much more used, in the northern hemisphere. This is where we have, some aging group, and then we have some people that come in, at some point in time just to take care of their professional support services. So we see so many people that maybe leave the shores of maybe developing countries to develop countries. This is what they do, and they find a whole lot of joy and economic satisfaction doing this job. Then we'll also go to medical equipment retail. We know that some equipment can be quite expensive, and that is why some of our healthcare some of our hospitals, they do not have all this healthcare. However, they could be involved in some retail, services where they have this delivered to them. And so it's a very, very prominent business to have. Then just like some diagnostic centers, they will have some scans, and at some point in time when people will always come back. We also have the online pharmacy store. This store, it makes it so easy to purchase your medication online. You don't need to see a physician before you can get your medication, but from online you can just have it delivered to your desired address. Then we have the physical therapy management software products. We can see that there's an infusion with technology in this type. This is where you're able to keep track of your patients, especially people who have complex health records. However, this software is just going to detail it, and so you can be sure that your information is not missing. So far, you have the necessary information security practices. Then we also have personal chef services. They are also infused into the healthcare industry because they accommodate different dietary restrictions. I believe that our Hilda Bassi's cook-attend, she may fall under this service. Then also we have our health maintenance organization. So it's an insurance, company for one's health. And, they actually partner with the hospitals to ensure that, you have paid ahead for some scope of illness or sickness that may happen. And then it gives you some relief that whatever happens, at least you have, the first care response, depending on your subscription to their different plans. Then we also have the diagnostic centers. These diagnostic centers, we always see some of these, outpatient hospitals, where they partner with these diagnostic centers so that, patients can easily receive follow-up care. Okay, go and do this scan, go and do that scan. So that's what it is, and it's booming, especially here in Nigeria. Then we also have dental sales. It has been predicted that this sector is going to go far and wide, as much as 25% per year, because so many people have issues with their dental care. And it includes dentures, partial dentures, other artificial teeth replacement systems. Then we would also then look at how healthcare business is evolving. This sector is actually under enormous pressure because we can see so many people have their hands dipped into it. So they have to, look at, okay, what is the trend? What is going to happen? How can they keep, their risks at a minimum? However, still ensure that there is an ongoing business, even though, the physicians, the healthcare business, majorly, the objective is to provide affordable healthcare. However, there is a business to it, so that they also do not run at a loss. So they are under enormous pressure, to put both issues and, put it on a scale. So we would look at what is happening currently all over the world, not just in Nigeria. We have that the life expectancy of people, it has been said that we now have people that are living longer. However, they are living with lifelong issues, such as like cancer, such as like, diabetes, heart diseases, and that is why we have a whole lot of NGOs, that are partnering, to ensure that this cost, because it is part of, the goals for 2030, that we should have, sustainable health care. And, okay, I'll continue. So we see that that's what is happening currently. Then we also see that there is a shortage of healthcare professionals all over the world. So it is predicted by the World Health Organization that there will be a shortage of healthcare professionals that could reach 10% by 2030. Now we now even see that the people that the skilled people that Nigeria have, we see that they are all migrating, maybe for greener pastures or what have you. So we see that Nigeria is in a dire need of healthcare professionals. That is why we see that there is still that bill, at the House of Representatives, deliberating on, maybe medical doctors and the like should be able to stay in the country for 5 years, after graduating from school, because they see that they do not have enough hands. Now we can see that healthcare can be so expensive. It can also be exclusive to some people, and it might just be designed to a different world. So you have to look at, what exactly is happening in Nigeria, tailor it to our needs, and provide specific solutions that we address the concerns we have. Now we would also see the following pointers to transformative healthcare business. We are not having preventive medicine. So we see telemedicine and AI, they are helping us to move away from the reactive model where, patients will have to visit doctors and then they will never be looking for, the cause of the ailment. Now we will see that there will be a predictive and a preventative model, maybe through smartwatches, through the infusion of technology, where we can know that, something is happening and this is the next course. So we see that healthcare business, this is how they should evolve with times. And also we will see democratized healthcare. We also see, according to statistics released by the World Health Organization, that says that half of the world lacks, medical essential healthcare services. However, we see that because there is an influx of technology, trying to make life simple, we would have like chat box devices that are able to monitor pain levels, spot potential triggers, and better manage pain. Also, we will have personalized and precision healthcare. Healthcare has become more predictive and personalized, and so it will be tailored to each individual's needs. Then we would see that there will be digitized healthcare that we already have. Some of us, we have some apps on our phones that will be able to tell us things. We even have doctors that will diagnose us online. We also have treatment of, patients, via communication platform and tools. And this is going to be the trend for a very long time to come. Also, we have body and biohacking. This includes gene editing, genomics, and incredible advances that will be able to track prosthetics and lab-grown body parts. We will see that the quest by some people, such as Dave Asprey, that he wants to live up to 180 years because they think that they can do one or two things that would ensure that they do not die. So that is what we're going to see healthcare transforming into. Also, we will see robotics and nanobots coming to play. Now, let us say that someone has an injury in the leg. So what these nanobots are going to target is that they will target that point of pain, and then there will be an infusion where the medication goes directly to where the injury is. And now it is currently being, experimented to treat blood cancer. Then we would look at data. Data and healthcare business. We will see that there is going to be a datafication, and because of the availability of data, we will see that we would have internet of medical things. We will see that by data we'll be able to transform the healthcare sectors, because there is going to be an accuracy to things, and there's going to be a prediction that is going to be accurate. So we see that data is going to fuel so many changes that are coming in the healthcare sector. Also, we will see, like in Nigeria, looking at our own, what we have currently in our country, it has been said overly, statistics have revealed that 40% of patients treated, they are always wrongly diagnosed. It's one of the issues that we should look into. Also, we will see that we have so many healthcare facilities, but they've been abandoned. we have so many buildings that we just see grasses all around and there's nothing ongoing. Then we have the problem of brain drain. We have our expats, that are moving out of the country, maybe for a greener pastures. And I think that, we should look at all of this because the right to life is a fundamental human right, and doctors and everyone involved in that sector should ensure that we do not have a catastrophe of any event. Also, we'll see that some of these facilities are ill-equipped, maybe they do not have, the standard equipment that should be in a facility. Then also we'll see that the remuneration of physicians and healthcare professionals, they have always referred to it to be inadequate, because these people, we believe that they pour their lives into making other people have good lives. So we think that they can be more remunerated. Then also would appreciate if there's more collaboration from private investors with the government, such as like in a public-private partnership model. We see NGOs that are coming to take the forefront in this sector. However, we still expect more private investors that will see that they can make some money from the healthcare business, even though the aim is to provide quality living for every citizen. And we also see that health tourism, where people are always leaving the country, I know that will mean that there is an export of currency. There is an export of currency from our country to other countries. So we believe that, if our healthcare sector, our healthcare space is developed, if businesses are in this sector, we will not have as much health tourism. Also, we will see that Lagos State, they are actually at the forefront talking about healthcare, and then we see that they have even brought in place, the Lagos State Health Plan, and they have 3 types of plans. It could be the Ilera Eco. The Ilera Eco, it goes for 1,200 to anyone who subscribes for a month, where you can visit your primary, secondary, and tertiary institution. However, there is a scope of services that can be provided. However, the scope is quite extensive, and we see that they are really partnering. However, it has been said that as at 2020, we have just less than 30% of Lagosians that have subscribed to this scheme, even though it's just 1,200 naira per month. So we think that we can have more people subscribe so that they can have affordable health care. Then also there's the formal health plan. Then there's also the Lagos State private health plan. Then we've discussed NGOs' role in the healthcare business, especially in cancer, that they said the business, the business of treating cancer is going to rise and there will be more profits in that model. So we believe that if all of this can be taken into consideration, we would have better healthcare system. Also, I think we should, since we are moving more into the infusion of technology with our healthcare system, we should be able to provide and plan for safe and secure settings, because that we are dealing with lives here. Also, we should be able to ensure that there will be network connectivity. Also, there should be a critical power infrastructure such that we do not have light going out at any point. Also, improve communications between the personnel involved. And also, we should have healthcare infrastructure interoperability. So I believe with all of this, the healthcare business is going to drive out and maybe even remove the health tourism, and Nigeria is going to be a place where all citizens would have a protected right to life, and have access to affordable healthcare. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mercy Frederick, for that wonderful presentation on health business. We're awaiting more comments and contribution on that from our mentor after we take the second presentation. So we call on the second presenter to also make.
Hello, Mr. Moderator, please. Before we take the second presentation. There's a clarification I need from her. I will make my contribution, but so that she doesn't lose her strain of thoughts.
Okay.
You started, Mercy, thank you for your presentation. The depth of research, as always, was not disappointing. You started by saying that health business is one business that can turn their clients down at any time or something like that. I would need you to throw more light on that for me to understand. Then afterwards, I will now make my contribution.
Okay, sir. So in Nigeria, we have like maybe a patient is rushed in to an hospital, and then, they can just turn the person down and say that, we do not have, what to do to take care of this situation, especially in like accident, especially in emergency accidents, because I've seen quite some things happen and they just be like, we can't take this to the next hospital. So I just think that that's like a sector where they turn, customers away.
Okay. We will get to that during the general contribution. I needed to understand what you meant by that. But I will quickly say that is not the position, but I will correct the impression. I will correct it. We are mixing up healthcare business needed to is a distinct area in the health service delivery chain.
Okay,
do you understand? So healthcare business, while the hospital itself is a business, the hospital environment or the hospital is just a sector in the chain, in the healthcare service delivery chain. So healthcare business is another sector in that chain. So during the explanation, during my contribution proper, I will dwell a little more on that.
Thank you,
make
sir.
further explanation. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Can we have the second
for that
presenter?
correction? Yes, I'm going on the second presenter to start your presentation. Samantha.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to present on health tourism. The definition of health according to the World Health Organization is a state of complete physical, mental, social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Therefore, health-related services that provide treatment and rehabilitation may be medical or wellness-oriented, which focus on improving physical, mental, and social well-being and preventing potential problems. The definition of tourism, according to the World Tourism Organization, is any activities of persons traveling to and staying in places outside their usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for leisure, business, and other purposes. Tourism is not only limited to recreational travels, but also includes travels for business, medical, or other purposes. Travels related to healthcare services may be curative, which is medical, to obtain a treatment needed for preventive or wellness-oriented. So collectively, the definition of health tourism is the traveling from place of residence to another place to acquire health-related services. It can be wellness-related or medical-related. In addition to the health-related services they get, health tourists may benefit from various touristic opportunities during their visits. These are considered as secondary concern because the primary reason for their trip is to enhance the quality of life by increasing well-being through healthcare services. So using this diagram, we define tourism. We divide tourism into three. There is business tourism, leisure tourism, and then the special type of tourism, which is health tourism. We divide the health tourism into two: illness prevention. This can be either wellness tourism or tourism that contributes to wellness or good mental health. We also have medical tourism, which is now focuses on those who are ill or who have deviated from the normal definition of health. In this case, they will need disease treatment or surgery for them to return to the normal health definition. So there are three components of health tourism, which are medical tourism, spa tourism, and wellness tourism. So I will mainly be focusing on the medical tourism. There are two categories of medical tourism, which is cosmetic tourism and non-cosmetic tourism. The most common procedures sought by cosmetic tourists include breast augmentation, eyelid surgery, liposuction, and rhinoplasty. These cosmetic tourists options are not done for someone who's sick, but rather they are done to complement or to enhance the outlook of the person. When it comes to non-cosmetic tourists, in this category, we have different types of procedures that can be implemented on different types of people. We can have cancer treatment. In this case, people might have a diagnosis, and in such situations, they do not want to accept what they've been told by the doctor or health professional. So they seek alternative healthcare in different countries, either to get cheaper services or maybe try out new medication that might be being implemented in the different country. We also have dental care, fertility treatments. In fertility treatments, in some countries, some citizens are allowed to freeze their eggs or freeze their sperms for them to use them later on. So in such cases, people travel to different countries or outside their countries to seek fertility treatment that will help them gain or get pregnant in the near future, or even at that particular moment in cases whereby the people are infertile. We also have rehab tourism, transplant procedures, and circumvention tourism. So circumvention tourism is usually used for procedures like abortion and doctor-assisted suicide. In these cases, we have patients, it's illegal in the mother country of the patient. So they would rather go to a different country where the procedure is legal. So I think we even touched on this in the first week where we were talking about health ethics and all of that, where we talked about how sometimes abortion is not allowed in a different country. So the patient would rather go to the neighboring country or even another continent altogether for them to get abortion. So we're going to focus now on factors contributing to health tourism. The rise of information and communication technologies and the internet has hugely contributed to health tourism because in this case, patients can easily research different procedures that are being done in different countries. So in such cases, they would rather move to these countries to go and access the different healthcare options that they may have. So due to internet and information and communication technologies, it has been made easier to do more research for either a cheaper procedure or something, so that patients can go to a different country to access these services. This is also increased in globalization and availability of global travel. The other factors that are contributing to health tourism are lack of local healthcare service related to poor technological infrastructure and death of or lack of qualified professionals in these countries. So this is usually experienced when Africans move to non-African countries, either in Europe or US or India, to go and access healthcare services that are either not easily available in their countries, or in some cases, there is a huge waiting time and there is an emergency for them to go into the different countries to access healthcare services. Other factors contributing to health tourism are relatively high cost of medical operations in developed countries due to limited or lack of insurance coverage. This is usually in relation to cosmetic surgeries. So the national health insurance in developed countries does not cover cosmetic procedures like dentist, ophthalmic, and other surgeries that the patient might require. So in such cases, patients would rather go to a second world country or developing country to go and access these procedures at a cheaper price. In also cases like in developed countries, there's also long waiting time for other procedures that are funded by the insurance. So in such cases, patients would rather go to a different country for them to access the services. And then significant differences in healthcare costs. Health tourism provides lower cost options, but high quality and immediate treatment to the public and benefits from exotic tour and shopping. So this diagram shows that the distribution of factors that mostly contribute to health tourism. If you look at the diagram, the most contributing factor is advanced technology. So which means that patients would rather go to another country to seek healthcare services for them to access better technologies or most advanced technologies. The least factor that contributes to health tourism is lower cost care for discretionary procedures. So in the event that it's a cosmetic procedure or it's a procedure that is being done under the table, people rarely seek services for that. They rarely seek health tourism for such procedures. And then looking at this table, it shows the comparative cost of healthcare in different countries, which shows why patients would rather go to India or Thailand from USA to go and seek heart bypass, heart valve replacement, because at the end of the day, the procedure is still going to be done. It's a lesser cost and accessing better healthcare or better doctors in Thailand or India. So this usually shows the differences in the costs of healthcare in between USA, Turkey, Thailand, and India. Because when you look at heart bypass, for example, in the US, it's costing $113,000. But when you now go to India or Thailand, the patient would just pay $11,000 or $10,000, which shows it's like 10% of the costs of what they could have paid in their own country. So in such cases, the patient would rather just go to Thailand or India to access healthcare services. So for those countries that are offering health tourism or that have health tourism facilities, there are benefits that are attached to that. The first one is promoting of the exchange and interaction of knowledge worldwide, which propels relevant industries in medical and tourism sectors, as well as the advancement of society. The second benefit is medical tourism increases gross national income and foreign exchange earnings, especially if they're coming from Europe and going to an African country to seek health tourism services. It also creates a channel to improve service, creating employment, balance international payments, and thrive on tourism. So these are the few benefits that are attached to health tourism. So this diagram shows the distribution of patients that go to seek healthcare services in India. Surprisingly, the majority of patients seeking healthcare services in India are Africans, which is represented by the 51% of patients seeking healthcare. And then the least number of them are Westerners and East Asians, which are both having 2% distribution of patients seeking medical tourism in India. The rise of health tourism in Africa. So despite the fact that we have other countries that are offering better services in Africa when it comes to health tourism, it seems that most patients would rather leave the African continent to seek for healthcare services either in India or Europe or other countries. The global health tourism industry is valued at 20 billion per year, with nearly 7 million patients seeking healthcare abroad. In 2015, in sub-Saharan Africa, 5 million trips were done seeking for health tourism, with $4.2 billion being the expenditure. So this shows the high potential that African hospitals or African countries that offer health tourism have to tap into this business, because most of these trips that were done were leaving Africa and not taking advantage of opportunities in other African countries. In sub-Saharan Africa, South Africa has emerged as the clear leader of medical tourist destinations of the African continent, with Morocco and Tunisia well positioned in North Africa to attract European patients. Other African countries experiencing growth in medical tourism include Egypt and Kenya. In addition to this, we also have Ghana, Algeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Mauritius, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Nigeria as newly listed markets with the potential to help the continent save millions of dollars spent every year in most key health tourist markets like India and the UK. So generally, there is still a huge potential that we can take advantage of as African countries to have more facilities offering health tourism services to tourists from Europe and other continents. Thank you. And
thank you very much, Samantha. I think that's the end of the both presentation from our both presenter. Thank you very much to our both presenters. I'll call on Mr. Ebenezer to give us his comments and also.
Okay. Awesome presentation there, Samantha, and rich content, very rich content. So back to Group 1's presentation, which I mentioned earlier. The presenter started, she made her explanation about what she meant by the healthcare business is one business that can turn its clients down. And when we talk about healthcare business, let us understand that we're not talking about hospitals. We're not talking about hospitals. We are talking about those businesses that supply consumables. Those people that sell the consumables that hospitals use in treating. She also said that hospital business can be done by anyone, and you can just come and start up hospital business. Once again, that is not really the position. Although there is no formal education or certification required, even though they are in certain areas, you are upgrading in what you want to do. But there is need for learning. You might have the money to invest, but you need to learn the trade. There is basic knowledge, that skill that you need to acquire. So I'm saying that healthcare business is beyond buying and selling. It is beyond making money. It is a very important sector in quality healthcare service delivery. Now, that should be 2020. or 2019, no, that's 2020. November 2020. I had a discussion with one of my many doctor friends, and he was complaining to me about the inferior quality of some surgical materials that were purchased, specifically clips. He mentioned clips, and he was complaining to me about the inferior quality of the clips that were in the market at the moment. Meaning that if as they are having their surgery and there are things to body parts to be clipped or whatever, the clip is not strong enough. If you clip it, it pulls off. And we started tracing how that just clip, not the doctor's mistake now, how that will lead to loss of life. Do you get it? So medical tourism is I said medical tourism, a healthcare business is beyond making money, because those who sell and supply those consumables, it is healthcare businessmen that supply hospital equipments, the beds you see in the hospital, even some drips you see in the hospital. I know that the pharmaceuticals have their own area. Some part of healthcare business includes the pharmaceutical company. Now, if someone supplies fake drug or some drug that do not have, in fact, the one they do now is the active ingredients, they inflate the percentage. So if the active ingredient is 2%, and by standard it is supposed to be, let's say, 5 or 7%, the content could be 2%, and on the pack of the medication, they will write 7%. So such malpractice, or yes, it is such business schemings could affect or impact negatively. That should be 2017, 2018. I had a discussion with a businessman who wanted to bring in medications to Nigeria. He was importing from India. And the samples he gave and everything he wanted, it's far back. That should be 2008 to 9. The samples he gave them, they had reduced the quantity of the active ingredients. So when he tested, they thought, okay, this man is like every other Nigerian. When he tested for quality assurance, the drugs were not meeting up with the quantity of active ingredients that he has sent in for them, the standard. And those people were surprised that the man was rejecting their production. They said, no, you see, you are the first person that is coming here to tell us to do this thing. Your people, they just come tell us to bring in something far. So when you sent your own, we thought you made a mistake, and we decided to correct it for you. So because of that, even when they agreed and accepted to correct it and do the right thing, the man said he was no longer interested in the business because he's not sure that they will deliver 100% of what he has paid for or what he has ordered for. That is one aspect. Then you talk about during COVID, that we were just talking medication, drugs, and machines. Those are hospital consumables. Those are hospital equipment. And it is these people is under healthcare business. Now, if they do not get it right, if they do not supply the quality that is required, it will affect the life of the patient. So I need us to tie any discussion we are having here. I want us to tie it to how it affects the patient, because at the end of the day, everything you do within the healthcare space is for the benefit and treatment of the patient. How many, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Who amongst us here has heard the word transhumanism? Transhumanism. If you have, let me know what you know about it. Transhumanism. Transhumanism. I didn't say Google it now and check. No, I mean you have heard the word before this class, before now. Transhumanism. So type it raise your hand or type it in the chat box that you have heard the word transhumanism before. Now, science has gone beyond curing headache and curing malaria. What transhumanism is all about is about longevity. In fact, as I speak with you now, they have brought out a projection that by 2045, death will be by choice. Now, they are not talking about death by accident. They are talking about that someone was sick and died as a result of sickness. Because what they have been working on all along is to even begin to reverse the aging process. There are technologies that has been developed to reverse back the aging process of some internal organs and make it look younger, which will ultimately affect the person. So that is the extent that health business has gone, because they are business to the extent of, okay, if a 102-year-old person undergoes their procedure and takes the medication and all that, the person could begin to look 67 years old. But what they are saying is that by 2045, if a person is sick, the person can decide whether he or she wants to die. They are looking at longevity. If the person says no, he or she doesn't want to die, they have the procedure, the scientific and technological skill to keep the person alive. Now, they are not talking about oxygen, no. They are not talking about the person being bedridden or being in one place, no. They are talking about you being totally free from any form of ailment and be healthy and be alive. So I brought this up so that we can think beyond drip and injections and oxygen and ventilators. Now to the second group presentation. If there are questions, I would like to take them, but let me also go to group two's presentation. Samantha, you and your team members, you did justice to this topic, particularly on the factors that predispose our people to seeking medical tourism or medical help outside our continents. You did justice to this. But what I want to add is that, okay, on the advantages, why there is shared knowledge, you did not, okay, you did. You mentioned it in the passing though. I'm looking for the slide you mentioned in passing though, the disadvantages of medical tourism. You didn't state it categorically that way, but you mentioned a few things that look like disadvantages, part of which is brain drain. So I want us to look at this particular topic from a position of concern. From a position of concern. While all this is happening, you look at the rates of people seeking medical tourism. I think that's slide 14. You look at it, segment of patients coming to India for medical tourism. What is the percentage? Africa is 51%. This calls for weeping. What can the continent do to scale down this percentage or this high number? Now, I need us to understand that one of the disadvantages of medical tourism, even though it happens here too, but it is not as rampant as it is, particularly India, China. Organ harvest is rampant in India. That if patients are not careful, particularly the kidney, the patient's kidney could be stolen in the process of treating that patient. You know, the kidney is one organ in the human body that you can survive with one, provided it's functioning optimally. In fact, last week, we had a program, Living Donors Celebration Day, to celebrate persons who had, okay, my friends have stroke. Let me turn on the generator, please. Just hang on, give me like a few seconds.
Hi, sir.
Can you, okay. So, one of the disadvantages in medical tourism is that those seeking healthcare outside the shores are more predisposed to becoming victims of organ trafficking. That is one. Two, a lot of them who go to particularly India are also scammed. Scammed in the sense that there are a lot of third-party interventions. There are people who pose as consultants who in between we make arrangements and all that. So if care is not taken, the patient who is going there to receive treatment could end up becoming a victim. That is another issue with health tourism. Now, health tourism drains resources from Africa. If we can make our own hospitals to become like the ones we go to seek abroad. Now, do you know the funniest thing? That most of the healthcare practitioners that our people leave Nigeria or other African countries to go and meet, most of those consultants that we meet, most of the people that will perform the surgery or whatever procedure, they are Nigerians. Most of them are Africans. So you see that when we talk of the personnel, the trained personnel, we have the expertise to deliver these things. But the challenge is that we do not have the enabling environment. The enabling environment is key Because if government plays its role by providing the funding or allowing private citizens to invest heavily in healthcare and do maybe a tax relief for them in bringing in healthcare equipment, giving them the necessary permission and licenses to build world-class healthcare and diagnostic centers here, you will see that a lot of issues around healthcare tourism in Africa will reduce. As I'm talking now, I also want to believe that there is a conspiracy to not allow Africa develop healthcare-wise. Why do I say so? If the world powers allows Africa to develop, who will provide the funding? Because it's from our money here that they are using to run their businesses. As our people troop in to seek care, as our people troop in to seek procedures, they are getting their dollars. And you see the inflation here in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, because the dollar keeps rising because people for different reasons are seeking the dollar to pay internationally, thereby making our exchange rate here, Naira to dollar exchange rate, low every day. By low, I mean that the Naira is increasing and getting devalued for fewer dollars. So that is all I needed us to know about the two topics we have treated today. If there are questions to be asked, let me have the questions, please. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ebenezer. We have 4 questions from our mentees before the call. But I don't know if on the course of the call, anyone has any question to ask, you can raise your hand and I'll call on you to ask your question. So I'll start with the first question. What measures are being taken to ensure that health tourism does not continue in Africa?
Okay. For Nigeria, I know that I think it's section 46. I think it's section, yeah, let me be sure so that I don't. I think it's section 46 of the National Health Act. It prohibits it prohibits the sponsorship of medication abroad for public officers. But this is on paper. It says, without prejudice, that's section 46, I was correct. Without prejudice to the right of any Nigerian to seek medical checkup, investigation or treatment anywhere within and outside Nigeria, no public officer of the government of the federation or any part thereof shall be sponsored for medical checkup, investigation or treatment abroad at public expense, except in exceptional cases on the recommendation and referral by the medical board, and which recommendation or referral shall be duly approved by the minister or the commissioner, as the case may be. Now, this is one of the measures. Legislation is one of the measures, but it is not enough to have legislation. Excuse me. I think my generator wants to go off. Just give me a few minutes. Yeah, sorry about that. It was signaling me they brought the lights back. So, it is not enough to have legislation, but implementing it. From what I read here now, no public officer is supposed to be sponsored for medical treatment abroad. Then except in few circumstances, exceptions. Now, in those exceptions, the Minister of Health, of course, is supposed to give his approval, or the Commissioner for Health, as the case may be, is supposed to give his approval. But the question now is this obtainable? The answer is no. Now, I know there was a governor, I think, yeah, governor of one of the northern states in Nigeria, who went to fly an aeroplane. He's a sitting governor, and he went to fly. Yes, he had gone to aviation school, but maybe for long, but now you are a governor. He just felt like going to fly aeroplane and had a crash. And for years, he was hospitalized and was being taken care of. Who was paying for that? Was it from his pocket? The answer will most probably be no. Secondly, your principal, you are a commissioner of health. A governor is sick, and you, the commissioner, is supposed to approve, let this man be flown abroad to be treated. Would you, as a commissioner, have the nerve to say, no, this man cannot, I am refusing this approval for whatever reason? The answer is no. The problem is that our leaders in Africa are the ones who are championing, who are the champions of health tourism, in the sense that any small thing, be it headache, be it whatever, toothache, fingernail pain, nail on the finger, pain on the finger, whatever, they are jetting out to fix it. Now we have buildings. We think that buildings make up the healthcare system. No, it is not. It is beyond buildings. Every day we commission projects. We have built so and so center. We have built so and so center. But after the television show and drama, everybody goes home. What about the equipment that is needed for that center to function? What about the skilled manpower that is required, the personnel that is required to get the center running? Now, what about even reducing the cost, subsidizing the cost of treatment for people to access it? Because quality healthcare service delivery is expensive, particularly in our continent, or let me say in our nation, Nigeria. As we are having this session now, you have seen me stood up to go and turn on the generator because power went out. You have seen me stood up to go and turn it off because the power has been returned. Now, if it is in a hospital and they are going to carry out a critical surgery, they cannot depend on power because they know it is not stable. They are going to depend on the generator. Now, these generators are big plants which run by diesel. And how much is diesel now? So you see that the government has a critical role to play when we talk about reduction in healthcare tourism. If the government has done its own part, creating the enabling environment, then you now talk about retaining the manpower. Because even if you have built the hospitals and bringing all the equipment, those equipments are not going to operate themselves. So there is need to look into the welfare of healthcare service providers. Why they are leaving our shores in droves is because they are better respected abroad. As they are working, nobody owes them salary. They are paid per hour. As you're working there, they calculate whatever this and pay you. You know what you are working for. You know how much you will get at the end of the day. Now, nobody is withholding your salary. My outgoing governor that we go 29th of May is owing doctors 18 months, 20-something months salary. How do you wrap your head around that? So it falls back again to the government to reduce healthcare tourism. Now, after the government comes the private sector. Now, for the private sector to also function well, you will see that the government has a role to play. Private investors can invest heavily in healthcare by bringing in the necessary equipment and all that. Okay, I was telling people that last week, I think last week Tuesday, on the 16th, we had the Living Donor celebration, Living Donor Day celebration here in Abuja. Now, living donors are people who have donated their kidneys. We had about 11 of them who had donated their kidneys. Is it 11? No. 7 or 8, not up to 11 of them, who had donated their kidneys to save the life of another. And we discovered that that particular feat was accomplished by persons who were outside the government, private sector. Now, someone came in who does medical outreach for his community and sees somebody who is in need of surgery. This man flies in doctors from the US to Nigeria every year to do medical outreach in his community. Then notices that there is need to do a kidney transplant, says what will it cost, because this particular hospital does not have the equipment, does not have what it takes. This single individual says, what will it cost to set up a kidney transplant clinic here? He provided the money, not the government, and they set up that center. What will it cost to train your personnel? He flew people from Nigeria to US to get them trained on kidney transplantation. And they came back as at Tuesday, between 2017 that the center was established till today, they have done 11 successful kidney transplantation in the southeast of Nigeria. Now, why am I telling this story? I'm sharing it to make us understand the critical role of the private sector in stopping or curbing healthcare tourism. That individuals can invest in this sector, and the government serious lobbying and advocacy should be done for the government to give them relevant support, tax waivers, and the enabling policies and regulations to make them come and invest. It's not the one you will invest tomorrow. Somebody in opposing political party who rises to power will now say that that particular hospital is a green area and therefore it should be demolished. Those are the primitive thinking we have here. Witch hunting, political witch hunting. If your political opponent has established something to cripple him without thinking of how that action will affect the society, will affect the economy, will affect the families that are dependent on that business. You just go because I am Mr. Governor today, I am Mr. President, go and demolish that place. In fact, I hereby revoke this your hospital land area. Those are the type of things we see here. So until, as a people, we begin to have value for human life, yes, and have value for quality living, When I say value for human life, it doesn't mean that we just have indiscriminate killing. No, it is in sitting down to think through the continuum. How will this my action? How will this my approval or disapproval? How will this my signature I'm signing or withholding? How is it going to affect the common man on the streets? So if we think through the continuum of the chain reaction or ripple effects of our decisions as persons in governments, we will now see how it affects or impacts directly or indirectly, negatively or positively on the common man on the streets. With that thinking, we are increasing our value for human life. And in most of the times, we will do the right thing that will affect that life. Thank you very much. I needed to be exhaustive, even though it is still not in answering this question because it is my area of passion. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir. I think that answer also goes for the next question, which is how do we judge the effectiveness of anti-health tourism measures? So I'll just go to the third.
Okay.
Yeah, like how do we judge the effectiveness of anti-health tourism measures?
The effectiveness, judging the effectiveness, it is not effective. It is not
so
effective.
That's why I would just say because
so it is not just
the
it
answer
is on
to the
paper.
first question already
provides
the answer to the second.
For now, it is not effective. Are we saying that we should put penalty measures on people who wants to go and save their lives? Mm-hmm. If you say people should not go abroad to seek treatment, you should make where they are conducive enough to attend to whatever ailments they have. At that point, you can now put a regulatory measure to say anybody who does this, this will be done to him. Now, I just read section 46 of the National Health Act to you. Now, there is even no penalty attached to whoever contravenes that section.
So that section, yes.
So there is no penalty to say any public officer who contravenes these sessions, this will be done to him. What will be the punishment of the minister or the commissioner for health who contravenes this session? Who, because his family member is sick, that his family member is not a public officer, then he puts that family member on his own name. Okay, he is a dependent, then they send him abroad and the ministry is paying the money because minister's brother is sick. So our measures for now are ineffective. Next question, please.
Right. Okay. The next question is: are there any regulatory measures still on measures geared towards standardizing health business in third world countries?
Yes. There are regulatory measures. Number one is NAFDAC, but whether the measure, we have to differentiate regulatory measures and the effectiveness of those measures. Good. So as for regulatory measures, there are regulatory measures, a lot of them. Prior to the coming on board of late Professor Dora Kunil, nobody knew about the existence of NAFDAC. But NAFDAC has been there. And now that she has come and gone, nobody still knows about the existence of NAFDAC. But when she was there, NAFDAC in the morning, NAFDAC in the afternoon, NAFDAC at night, because she insisted that the standard must be done the way it ought to be done. That the drugs we are bringing into Nigeria must be of international standard. So NAFDAC under her impounded a lot of fake drugs, sent people out of business because they were not doing the right thing. So under how we could see the effectiveness of NAFDAC, there is the Standard Organization of Nigeria, which looks up, yes, so there is the Standard Organization of Nigeria, which looks at the standard quality of items that are supposed to be imported into Nigeria. So if the standard organization is functional and effective, where do we get the fake products we have in the market from? For the pharmacy, we have the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Yes, it is an organization for pharmacists, agreed. But they also work in collaboration with other government agencies to ensure that the drugs that come into this nation meet the pharmacological requirements. Do you understand it? So I also want to believe that we have the equivalent of these regulatory bodies in other African nations. But the question now is, how effective are they? Whether there are regulatory agencies, there are a lot of them. A lot. We have a good number of them. But how effective they are is a different ballgame altogether. So to properly answer that question, we have regulatory agencies who ensure that standards are met. But whether they are doing their job the right way is a different thing altogether.
Okay, I'm still calling on our mentees to ask any live question.
We have asked
on
3,
any
right?
Area that you. Yes,
I thought you said there are 4 questions. Okay.
Yes. I'm just encouraging our mentees to ask any question on any area of the topic that is bothering them. The last question is, cancer is becoming an issue. What are our regulatory authorities doing to combat unqualified and unlicensed people from dispensing illegal produce, like illegal produce drugs like bots, enhancement pills, slimming drinks? The rate is alarming. Even school dropouts are CEOs of drugs and advertises themselves online.
Okay. That is a growing concern. It is a concern, and the government needs to come in as quickly as possible. But let me say that a lot of things predisposes people to cancer. In fact, they are still studying the cause. Today you will hear it is this, tomorrow you hear it is this. But most of the time it will be lifestyle. By lifestyle, I mean mostly what we eat. Okay, for example, I live in Abuja. For some time, I have deliberately stopped eating banana and other fruits like mango you see on the road. I have deliberately stopped.
I don't eat these mangoes on the road too.
I have deliberately stopped buying and eating them. Why? Because they are carbidized. They are ripened, pawpaw, mango, they are ripened with carbide. Now, what they just do, a bunch of banana that could naturally take 4 or 5 days or even 7 days to ripe when you keep it in the room and just preserve it. With carbide, they pour the carbide today. By tomorrow morning, the banana is ready for sale. And when you peel the back and you eat it, you could feel the taste that it is not the natural taste of banana. Some of them, you just put it in your mouth and you will spit it out immediately. Now, these things they seep into your system and they cause havoc. Tomorrow, you don't know what you are suffering from. Do you get it? The rates of cellophane leather consumption in a lot of things we do. Okay, I saw a post on Facebook some time ago that people use paracetamol to cook meat, to soften meat, particularly cow head and all that. As they are cooking it, they will put in tablets of paracetamol. Can you imagine that? And people say, yes, we've been doing it. It softens the meat quickly. I also read within that period, some people say you put nail. So you take one nail, wash it, and put it inside the strong meat, or what our popular delicacy here, pomo. Then the cow skin.
Skin.
For those who may not understand, the hind of cow, the cow skin. So you put nail. You put it there to soften it. Now, in your thinking, all you are doing is you are softening meat. But do you know the health hazard that you are causing to those who are going to consume it? So you see that most of these things, we are the cause. Our quest for money. Everybody wants to be rich. So it does not matter how you get there. Whatever you are doing that is giving you fast money, you keep doing it, even though it is killing people, including your family members. So if the government wants to come in, there is need to do serious and aggressive sensitization. By that sensitization, it is not running jingle on radio, no. It is to hold town hall meetings in communities and talk to what is our attitude towards our environment. Go to the Niger Delta, see oil bunkering happening. Even the companies that are genuinely into oil exploration, how are they dispensing their oil waste? You see gas flaring everywhere. Whereas that fire, there is a community in the South region, the way 12 a.m. is, or rather 12 noon is with illumination. That is how the community is at night because of gas flaring. A friend of mine since he was born, that fire has been burning like that, fuming into the air. Now the environment is polluted and you're inhaling. So you don't even know what you're inhaling. The aquatic life is destroyed, but out of hunger, people must survive. So they will still go there and fish. Whatever fish they see there, they eat it. The same happens to the farm. Whatever grows on that land that is edible, they will eat it. But those things are already contaminated. I don't know if you get me. So these are the likely sources. Our lifestyle and our environment, what we ingest. At the end of the day, okay, what about cream? Different mixture. What about these people that say they sell organic, whatever? Everybody wants to look fair. Everybody wants the skin to glow. If your skin, you are dark, they now say, come and tone the darkness of the brown skin. You now come and do skin toning. These things are chemicals that you are putting on your skin. It will seep through the pores into your system. So it boils down to lifestyle first. It boils down to our interaction with our environment too. So if we can control this, but we can't really control it if the government does not do the basic things. You see, we keep calling government, because the primary responsibility of government is protection of lives and properties. And protection of life and properties is beyond carrying gun and ensuring that there is no riot. No. If you provide food for the people, if you make farming attractive for young people, if you do road into the interiors, that as people go back to the villages to farm, they have road, access road to transport their farm produce to the city to make money, or even have buyers come meet them in the interiors to make money. And you encourage and train them on the right way it should be done. Now, have you seen these people who drink all manner of things in the name of herbal medicine? Have you gone to our motor parks and see drivers before they move in the morning, they take all manner of concussion? Who tested, were those things subjected to scientific processes and observations to know if at all those, yes, I am not discounting herbal medicine, far from it. I am not discounting herbal medicine. A portion of our National Health Act provides for them. Do you understand? However, there should be standardization. The way people go to school to learn orthodox medicine and medical practice, there should be standardization and institutions that should teach people. If you want to go into trado medicine, yes, China is heavily into trado medicine. Japan is heavily into trado medicine, and they are getting results. All these forever living products, Tianxi, and whatever network, those are trado medicine. That have been packaged as supplements because they have been able to upgrade and package it well. Those things have gone through a lot of processing and testing and standardization that they are now compatible with the human body. But ours is still in the crude state. Just cut the roots, boil and drink. What about, how do I put it now? What about maybe fungi or whatever, bacteria that are attached to that? How do you remove them? The same goes to the leaf. Just mix this. And let me shock you. Some of these people who carry those herbs around, what they actually do is they boil those roots and herbs. Then they will now get painkillers and mix in those things. So when you take it, because you are having waist pain, when you take it, the pain quickly disappears. You will know that you have actually taken an overdose of painkiller. But you are happy and you even advertise the concussion you took. This thing is working well. Once you take it, it does it, but you don't know you are killing your internal organs. So at the end of the day, you will certainly come down with one ailment. It's not only cancer that is rampant. Kidney failure is rampant everywhere. High blood pressure is rampant. That you even begin to see initially when we're growing up, if someone has BP, they say, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? Hey, stop worrying. What are you worrying? So when you now see a child of 7 years, 8 years, 12 years with high blood pressure, is that child thinking of paying school fees? Is that child thinking of house rent? So you see that the problem is our lifestyle. And it is in the things we consume. It is in the things we apply to our skin. It is in our interaction with our environment. It is in our inordinate quest for money that we just do all manner to make money. It is in our culture of celebrating wealth without enterprise. So when I say lifestyle, it is our culture. It is the things we have begun to hold dear to us. knowingly and unknowingly, without looking at the far-reaching effects as it affects our health. So that's my answer to that question. And it takes our collective responsibility.
Thank you.
To do justice. Some
Thank
of you
you
are
very
in
much.
this class. The things we are saying here today, in the next 3, 4, 5 years, some of you will find yourself in positions of authority that will require you to apply the knowledge we are sharing here. And I want to believe that when that opportunity comes before you, you will remember today and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ebenezer. I will encourage everyone to turn on their video now, so we take a screenshot of our meeting today before we end the call for today. I can see Mercy Frederick is on the call, Esther, and Victor Adeyemi.
Dr. Victor, you've not said anything today. Let's Victor talk before we close.
All right, Victor, contributions.
Hello, Mercy, how are you? I have not heard Esther say anything since we started this class, have I?
Yes, she was supposed to present
Esther,
today. She's the second presenter.
Video. Okay.
She was supposed to present today, so she didn't present. So someone stepped in for her.
Okay. Okay, Madam Esther, yes, I can see your face now. In fact, has she done any contribution throughout this our meeting so far? This is week 4, either by question or by presentation.
I think she came late. She joined
not today. I'm not talking about today. Okay. Okay.
She joined week 2, so
I did presentation last week. I was the one that presented last week.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, all right.
Where are the others? Where's Mr. Victor? Okay, Messi, I can see you. Where is Victor? Victor, Dr. Victor, put on your camera. Where is Samantha?
Samantha left the call.
That's why I'm asking where she is. We can't see her. Where's my friend Idong? I thought I saw him earlier.
Yes, I saw him earlier too. They left the call.
Dr. Victor, please put on your camera. Okay, you can take your pictures. You can take the shots. So Stella, I said Stella, Messi, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
Thank you for my wonderful slides. I'm sending another one to you.
Okay,
let me tell you people, let me expose her. Mercy designed one beautiful slide for me that I used in one of my presentations. And because of her slide, the anointing to present was on me.
Wow.
You know, when you have a beautiful...
Well done, Mary, well done.
When you have a beautiful slide, you can be submitting. But when your slide is not well designed, it can affect your courage. So yes, the slide she presented, she prepared for me, engaged the audience, that once we finished, they started demanding, please, sir, can we have the slide? Can we have the slide? So thank you very much, Messi. I'm sending another one.
Well done, Mary.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well done, Mary. And also thank you very much, Esther. I think with this, we've come to the end of the session for today. I know today is Sunday and it's quite inconvenient for some of us to be on the call till the end of the call. So I do hope that we all have a wonderful rest today. I know tomorrow is Monday and the work week begins again. So thank you very much once again, Mr. Ebenezer. Esther, thank you. Mercy Frederick, thank you very much for joining. Yeah. So that will be the end for today.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
It's okay. Have you taken the shots?
Yes,
Hassan?
I've taken them.
Okay.
I've taken them.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, sir.